Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. I'm down here at Bondi Beach, and it's a glorious autumn morning. Not very much cloud. It's a bit chilly though, but I think it's about 9 degrees. But what do you expect? Winter is on its way. The leaves on the trees have started to fall. And we'll just try and make the most of this wonderful Sunday. This is indeed a glorious beach, an icon, a world icon, and I always love coming here throughout the year to kick off my Sundays. Anyway, let's just go around here and see what's happening at the Icebergs pool. As you can see, there's a bit of a breeze, just rippling the pool there. There's a nice set of waves coming through. And here we have the first swimmer, 6:30 in the morning. The first swimmer's about to take her dive and commence her swim. And I'll be joining her shortly on this beautiful morning. There you go, in the water. I haven't swum for a couple of weekends. I'm not sure what the temperature's like, but I'd imagine that it'd be probably under 20 degrees now, probably around about 18, but we'll see how we go. But usually I come down here and I do 40 laps of that Olympic ocean pool, and which is 2 kilometres. But I find it invigorating. I look forward to it, and I absolutely enjoy it. Anyway, let's go on a bit of a walk and talk before I hit the pool. And today what I want to do is take you through a book summary so we can take in the magnificent views of Bondi Beach and supplement it with some learning as well. Let's go to the other side of Icebergs where I can get some peace, and we'll continue our chit-chat. Anyway, Learned Optimism is the book that we'll be going through today, and the author is Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman is the author of this book, and one of the quotes from this book is from Martin, is that he says that he doesn't mind being wrong, and he doesn't mind changing his mind, which is a powerful sort of statement. A lot of people worry about being wrong and worry about being consistent, but those worries in themselves are a little bit silly, because we have the ability to change our mind, and we have the ability to realise that what we do sometimes is wrong, and to right our wrongs, so you don't have to be stuck in a rut just because you've said something. You can always change and improve and make the most of what you've got available to you. Here we go, we've got the sunrise happening now, a beautiful sunrise. So I'll just go over here on this patio. We'll just go over here on this patio, and I'll grab this little corner here, and we'll continue our book summary. I'll use that as the background. So let me just turn the camera around. This is what I love about using Facebook Live, that you can flip the camera, whereas you can't do it when you're doing video. There we go. Let's turn around and get the sunrise in the background, and we'll continue our chit-chat on this wonderful book entitled Learned Optimism. So the author here reminds us that there are 2 basic types of people in the world, and there are optimists and pessimists. And you know what I'm talking about. We've got them in our social circle, we've got them in our families, we've got them in our work environments, we've got them everywhere. And we also learn from a very young age that there are people who seem to be able to meander through life ever so effortlessly, and you wonder, what is the difference between the person who can get through life effortlessly and the one who has problems and challenges everywhere they look? And what the author says here is that there are two types of people, and as we said, we've got the optimist and the pessimist. And optimism and pessimism are basically two explanatory styles that the author talks about. He says that they're explanatory styles. It's the way we explain situations to ourselves. It's the way we author our stories. It's what we use to embellish and to colour our experiences. So optimism and pessimism are just two styles that people adopt, and you can adopt either style. So you can be a pessimist or an optimist. But what the author is saying is that each of these styles are a learned phenomenon. An optimist basically sees problems as temporary, whereas on the other hand, a pessimist sees a problem as being permanent. It's a little bit of a mindset sort of challenge. It's a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. An optimist sees problems as being specific to a situation, whereas on the other hand, the author says here that a pessimist sees a problem as being a general sort of thing and just impacts everything. So, you spill your milk, for example, and it's all got to do with you. It's not just the fact that it just happened. It's more of a general sort of description of who you are as a person. And the other one here is that an optimist sees problems as external to themselves, whereas a pessimist seems to internalize those problems and to think that they're the ones to blame, so they focus the blame on themselves. So how do we get to become an optimist and a pessimist, you may ask? And the author ventures to say that it comes from our upbringing, from our environment, and usually it comes from our parents and our teachers. They're the ones who have the greatest impact on our lives. So it's important to be able to look back over our lives and see the parenting style and the type of parents that we've had and the teaching styles that have been around us, and also our siblings, our relatives, people who have had a big impact on our lives can also shape our explanatory style, the style that we use to create the stories that we say to ourselves, the story we say to others, and the way we see ourselves and see our lives. So once again, the author is very adamant and says that optimism and pessimism are learned. They can be learned, and just like things can be learned, they can also be unlearned. But the choice is yours. But the author also reminds us that whatever choice you make is going to have first, second, and third level consequences in your life and impact everything you do. And when you're trying to decide whether or not you want to be an optimist or a pessimist, one of the things you may use in that decision process and may shape your decision is that people who are optimists tend to be healthier and tend to have a stronger and elevated immune system. And optimists, on the other hand, also tend to look after themselves, take care of themselves better, and make better choices and better decisions, better life decisions, because they live in hope. They look forward to the future. They believe in love, they believe in the goodness of people, they believe in God, and they believe in themselves and the people around them. Whereas on the other hand, this could be a bit of a generalisation, but this is what the author says, so we've got to try and assess it and take it in. He says that pessimism can cause depression and mental health issues. So you've got a choice. You've got a choice of being pessimistic, and you've got a choice of being optimistic, I guess, is the key message from this book. And the difference between the two, as we said before, is a type of mindset that you incorporate. A pessimist tends to have a fixed style of mindset, whereas an optimist has a growth mindset, who sees their problems, their issues, their challenges as simple stepping stones along a path, whereas a pessimist seems to think that nothing can change, nothing can improve, and everything is fixed in a way. Anyway, let's go over here, we'll go on the other side and continue the chit-chat. One thing that the author talks about in terms of learning how to deal with pessimism and optimism is to consider a technique, and it's called the ABC technique, where you can learn optimism. So what does A, B and C actually mean? Let me just extend the selfie stick so I can get a better angle over here. So the ABC technique that this author talks about, A stands for, you've got to ask the following question: what's the adversity that I'm currently facing? And B is, what's the belief about this adversity that's causing me a challenge? And the C that you need to also ask is, what's the consequence of having this belief? Because once you ask yourself those questions, it opens up your mind, it opens up your being to be able to deal with what you're dealing with, and to decide on whether or not it's empowering or disempowering. And we're called to challenge a lot of those beliefs that we hold, because many of them are limiting and many of them are irrational. Many of the fears that we have, many of those beliefs are generated by irrational fears that we need to challenge, and we need to replace them with empowering explanations, is what the author is telling us. So the next point that comes from this book is that the author calls us to action and asks us to label our thoughts, and to label them as into either being useful or unuseful, empowering or disempowering. And it's up to you to create a meaning and to create a baseline and a benchmark for your growth and development. Because the thoughts that you have, you can control. You can control your thoughts, and it's the only thing that you've got control over. So take some time to assess your thoughts and label them. Don't be fearful of labeling them, because once you label them, then you can deal with them. Once you label them, then you can assess whether or not they're empowering or disempowering. So start thinking about events in your life, events in your past, and events that may come up in your future, and start remembering the ABC technique, and understand that whatever happens in our life, or whatever negative events we have in our life, is only temporary. and you can change the meaning, you can assess the meaning, you can mold the meaning, you can make the meaning empowering as opposed to limiting yourself by seeing them as permanent. See them as temporary hiccups in the road. So as we said before, we need to use the mnemonic. The mnemonic that the author talks about is SET, and understand that whatever happens in your life is specific to that time and place. The E is to know that the event is external, and not to internalize it, not to hold on to it, but to understand that things just happen, shit does happen. And the T means that it's temporary. So things are specific, they're external, and they're temporary. And the author then goes on to have another call to action where we need to record your ABCs, record your adversity, record your belief about what this adversity is about, and the potential consequences of holding on to that belief. So once again, there's a bit of homework here for each and every one of us in order to improve, grow and develop, and to record in your journal your ABCs, and to understand that your attitude is a learned phenomenon, and you can change it at any time, any point in time, and become an optimist. So the call to action is to review your attitude, your thoughts, your beliefs, and to become more optimistic, because by being more optimistic, there are a lot of benefits that come from it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club from down here at Bondi. And we've been through another wonderful book summary. The book is entitled Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and most importantly, I challenge you to stay and be optimistic, and to take some of the techniques that we've just talked about and to incorporate them in your life and make the most of this wonderful day. So I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment where we can help each other get through the morning, get through the day, be the wind beneath our wings, and be the wave beneath our board. And as I said, to take it, to use it, to incorporate it in our lives so that we can live, learn and pass it on. Take care everybody, if you like ya, and we'll chat again. And I'm just about to go down there and take a dive in that pool, do 40 laps, 2 kilometers, and enjoy the gift of Sunday. And I encourage you to do the same. Gracias. Take care, and bye for now. Wow, what a sunrise. Absolutely magnificent.